ILR3 World Championship here from the Monaco Grand Prix. I am joined tonight by Ali Monda. Ali, welcome along. Well, this is going to be a cracking race, isn't it? Monaco in the dark. We don't often see that, do we?
No, I mean, what a splendid scene this is. I mean, if you were to walk the streets of Monaco, you just think, time and time again, how on earth do they have a race circuit around here? And yet, this is exactly what we're about to do.
Yep, it's an absolutely incredible place to go racing. I absolutely love it. Walking the circuit on Thursday, or not on Thursday, they were on track on Thursday, but walking it on Friday after practice, it was absolutely brilliant to walk around the circuit and really take in the sights of a Grand Prix track in its unique way. I mean, obviously Monte Carlo, it's incredible. As you can see, cars out there at the moment going over the top of pavements, not curbs, and it really is an absolute cracker. And I'll tell you what else is a cracker, the ILR3 Championship at the moment. 4 different winners in the opening 4 rounds, and Ali, I think you have standings for us, don't you?
Yes, indeed. I mean, as you say, 4 different winners from the opening 4 rounds. That doesn't happen too often in esports. But yes, Goody and Joker right at the top of the championship on 51 points. And then a mere 2-point gap to the next 2 in championship being Jack and Yannick on 49 points. But then the likes of King and Owen not far off, 40 and 30 points respectively. It is tight all around there. And then looking at the Constructors' Championship, slightly different story. The 2 Renault drivers, King and Jack, have had a brilliant start to the season. They're on 89 points. 63 points from McLaren for Acon and Yannick. Acon and Yannick, of course, making their debuts fairly recently, and then Williams, Sauber and Ferrari making up the top 5.
Yeah, well, the cars out on the racetrack, and as you say, a really, really tight championship. Can anyone break away from that group as we enter the traditional European part of the season? And will anyone really start to strengthen their grip? The car's out on track at the moment, and I'm riding on board with Yannick, who is, of course, in his first season in ILR, as are many of the drivers in ILR3, and Yannick heading down the hill towards that, towards the tunnel part of the racetrack. Only one of the, I think it's really the only circuit that has a tunnel in the Formula 1 calendar. You could call the little bit underneath the grandstand at Singapore a tunnel, where of course it's a street circuit as well, if you want to call it that. But here comes Yannick down towards the final part of the lap. What do you make of this corner? I love it through here to back, and then the swimming pool section, one of my personal favourites, Ali Monda.
Yeah, yes, it's one of the best Sector 3s of any circuit. When you nail it, the sense of satisfaction you get is absolutely immense, but it's also an extremely important section for your lap. If you get it wrong, you'll lose so much time, and all the good work you did in the first 2 sectors will be all forgotten.
Yeah, and it was all forgotten there for Yannick, because he came round into Raskas, and unfortunately for him, Jack Gooding was in his way. A total block, a total lapse of concentration from him, and Yannick was blocked there, so he'll be maybe heading down to the Renault garage to have a few words come the end of qualifying, but he's gone second quickest. The Joker goes quickest of all, a 1 minute 11.780. Most of the drivers on the ultra soft tyres at the moment, 4 times on the board. The Joker on top, Yannick second, Carl Metz third, and Cloudy Balloons fourth. What do you think we could see here? What kind of lap time do you think are we talking about?
Well, and Joker's just slammed into the wall just before to back, so he's lost half his wing, but he's already got the time on the board. Well, in terms of the times, I think this grid is definitely capable of low 11s at least, but we shall see as time goes on. If someone goes into the 10s, that would be unbelievable. That would be like inside line racing 1 pace, but we've got just over 7.5 minutes of the session to go, Andy.
Yeah, 7.5 minutes to go. We joined late, of course. We were just getting the stream set up, but we are now all here with the action. Interestingly, though, with 7.5 minutes to go, only 6 cars with a time on the board, and that just shows you how tricky it is to get a lap together here at Monte Carlo. And such as the F1 2017 game, with only 12 minutes of qualifying as opposed to the previous 18 on other games, it is very, very challenging for the drivers to get a time. And Goody's now gone second on a 1:12.1, and really, really difficult, and a lot of cars in the 13s at the moment. It's a track, Ali, where you really need to try and wind it up, don't you? A couple of laps, keep going, build up the confidence, and then really punish the racetrack, deliver a time right at the death, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the one consequence of that, the less qualifying time on F1 2017, is that you have no time to relax. On Monaco, as you say, you want to wind yourself up, but this track, you just got to go for it straight away and hope you've done the setup and all the practice right.
Absolutely, and we're right on board now with FC Grun. He's currently 9th quickest, 1:14.1, and doing exactly that, just winding himself up to get a lap in the board. We've got Owen Wyatt on an out lap too. We've got Acorn, Kingham, JJ, who've been looking to try and push himself up the championship. Yet to really push for a victory, has Jamie yet, but he's a very popular character in ILR, and everyone will be hoping he can put in a real performance. He's actually showing us on the ultra soft tyre, so what can he do then as he winds up to start his first lap of the session? Jamie, traditionally quicker in race trim. What will he do here today in qualifying as he heads through Saint-Devote? Now the big climb up the hill, one of the steepest climbs on the Formula 1 calendar. Unusual to see that on a street circuit, but on any other street circuit you don't often see big climbs, but in Monaco it's totally unique, totally different, as Jamie comes to the edge of that first sector, going through Casino Square and sweeping down the hill towards that Lowe's hairpin, the tightest corner on the Formula 1 calendar. And Jamie heads through there now in the Renault, heading down the hill under the floodlights here in Monaco. You can see the boats out in the harbour, watching on as he now heads through the tunnel. And the engines in the past, the V8s, the V10s, the Marshalls standing in there would have had to cover their ears, but maybe not so much in these V6s as Jamie comes towards the end of that middle sector now. A little bit.
That's a Haas of, yeah, the Haas of a little piece getting in the way, and that's ruined King's lap completely. A bit of wing chipped off as well. That was not good awareness from little piece there, unfortunately. Yeah, it really was, and you have to say that that's another problem with this racetrack. You know, we talk about the barriers being so close and the difficulty to nail a lap. Traffic, and we've already seen it twice. Jack getting in the way of, I think it was Yannick, and now Jamie, his lap being thwarted as well, and the frustration just continues to mount. We've got the Joker on top at the moment though, with 4.5 minutes to go. The only man to really put a time on the board that you would think is capable of pole, a 1:11.7. Goody second, a 1:12.1, and Yannick third, 1:12.4. I only wonder. Yes, but Yannick, well, he is about to wind up for a flying lap. It wasn't the best effort. We saw him sort of have a sloppy sector 3, which cost him a bag of time in his opening run. He's on a 1:12.425 right now. He's got quite a gap to get back to Joker, but he is more than capable of closing that, although he slightly touches the barrier going into Saint-Devote, so that's going to cost him a 10.
Going to be a heavy shot for the second time in this qualifying section, but yeah, the potential is there. We've seen that sloppy that cost him. What can Yannick do this time? Can he put the whole piece together and stick it on pole, power his way into the 11s? Danny now goes into the 11s with that 1:11 than that. So what can Yannick do? Can he make it a trio of cars in the 1:11s? Can he go even quicker than that? Here goes Yannick powering down towards this final sector. Who through to back he goes, throwing the car in. Now the swimming pool section comes up at you very, very quickly. Then the second part, and he now heads down towards Raskas. Huge kick of oversteer there for the McLaren as he now flies through Raskas and into Anthony Nose. He will head for the line. What can he do? 1:11.7 is his best so far. It's not looking quick. A 1:13.2.
No.
Nowhere near it.
Yeah. When he went through to back, it looked timid. He wasn't really showing full commitment with the car, and he's not so far. He's shown sort of aggression in his driving, but it just seems to lack a little bit of confidence in that final sector.
Yeah, it seems to. And Danny second, Goody now third, Yannick fourth. What about Cloudy Balloons? He's quite far around. Is anyone else far around? Carl Meds is quite far around the circuit. He's coming into that final corner. It's not looking particularly quick though, and for that reason I'm going to leave him to it. What about Cloudy Balloons? Currently fifth fastest in the Sauber, and he heads now down towards the final sector of the lap. What is Cloudy Balloons capable of doing in that Sauber? Fifth at the moment, 1:12.4. Quite a close battle between him and Yannick, only a few hundreds between them. Here comes Cloudy Balloons. This looks significantly quicker. Is it Paul? It sure is Paul. A 1:11.355, and he blitzes the field with a scintillating lap. What about that? Hold on, here comes Goody for the line. He goes second, 1:11.7. Just a fraction quicker than the Joker, and suddenly some of the field have come alive, as we suspected they might.
Yannick into the 10s.
Oh wow, just seen it there, Yannick 1:10.825. He's absolutely smashed Cloudy Balloons time. The times are falling rapidly here. Yannick 1:10.8, Cloudy Balloons 1:11.3, and as we suspected, they would ramp it up towards the end of the session. They would find their confidence, and boy oh boy, hasn't Yannick found his confidence, Ali?
Yeah, absolutely, and look at that, Owen Wyatt putting onto the front row, 3/10 off. That's a great lap from the Red Bull drive. But yeah, Yannick, I was on board with him. His sector 3 was vastly superior to anything he'd managed so far. He showed far more commitment. That was a banger of a lap.
Yep, superb effort. Goody's backed out of his lap. Cloudy Balloons is backed out of his. Jack Gooding in the final corner. Yannick's looking pretty good at the moment. Here comes Jack Gooding heading to the line. It's slow. It's very slow. What about anyone else out there looking particularly quick? Little Piece yet to do a time. He's going to come round the final corner and do one now. Currently 13th. He should move up from there. He moves up to 8th with a 1:13 flat. And I think that is it. Who else is out there? FC Grun is yet to complete.
Yeah, Jack's still out there, but yeah, he's just banged it off just before
they're all
the end
going
of
again,
sector
sorry,
one.
yep, of course. Ritson as well, yet to do a time. Jamie's abandoned too, and that's a terrible, terrible result for him. He's not a racetrack you want to be doing that, as Ritson takes an awful lot of curb going through the Lowe's hairpin. Not what you want to be doing. FC Grun coming to the end of his. Where's Jack? He's coming through the tunnel at the moment. Little Piece going again. They're all going again. Goody currently 4th, Cloudy Balloons 3rd, and going again, Yannick in the garage. So what can Cloudy Balloons do? Is he on a quick one? He's going quicker than he's ever gone. 1.5 tenths up on his previous best. It might be enough to put him in the front row. Paul looks a long shot from here. Cloudy Balloons.
He took too much. He took too much.
He did. It might still be enough to put him in the front row though. No, it won't. And he did take too much.
Jack's abandoned his run. Ritson though is looking to finish, although this doesn't look particularly quick, but it might be enough maybe for the top 10.
Okay, what about Goody? Ritson is going to go 7th quickest. Goody was going quicker than his previous best. Currently 4th. Can he put it as near as the front row? No, he's backed out of it completely. Maybe he cut a corner or something. And that means that's that. Session over, and Yannick goes quickest of all. We said off air that he was going to be quick. I had a feeling he was going to be the man for pole off air, and he has proven that. A 1:10.825 to snatch the pole position. We said that the times would come down towards the end when the confidence climbed, and Yannick is glowing with confidence. He goes quickest of all. Owen Wyatt 2nd, Cloudy Balloons 3rd. Well, I've got to ask you, what do you think about that? Who was the star there? Surely it was Yannick with that 1:10.8.
Yes, well, Yannick, he's exactly where he wants to be in Monaco, pole position. But I got to say, notable, what an awful qualifying session for the constructors' leaders, Renault. You know, they've ended up in 11th and 15th.
Wow, that is a horror show for them. And Constructors' Championship will be taking another twist, since that is just the way it is at the moment in ILR3. You just cannot predict it. And both the Renault drivers having an absolute nightmare. So that is the real shock there, to see them outside the top 10. Yannick on top with that 1:10.8. Anyone else that catches your eye? Obviously you see a lot of ILR3. Is there anyone else that's outperformed what he's shown so far?
Yeah, well, I think Owen and Cloudy's qualifying pace was absolutely tremendous. Yes, they're not, you know, close to Yannick's time, but, you know, they're up there, 2nd and 3rd. Goody, you know, he's been probably the most consistent driver so far in terms of results, and he's up there again, the championship leader, in 4th place. So he's sort of keeping himself in the game, because the one thing I noticed about this qualifying session was there wasn't much caution out there, and a lot of people were banging their wings off the barriers. So even though Yannick's in pole position, you know, he's got to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be careful. It's Monte Carlo after all. There is your final order for the Monaco Grand Prix qualifying. It's Yannick on pole with that 1:10.8. Owen Wyatt is 2nd with Cloudy Balloons in 3rd. The 2 Dutchmen are 4th and 5th of Goody and the Joker. Danny is 6th. Ritson 7th. FC Grun in 8th. Carmed's 9th. And Little Piece rounds out the top 10. And as you say, Ali, the championship... Sorry, not the championship. The walls are awful close, and you have to be careful. And will Yannick now try and play percentage game? He's shown that he's got a 3/10 advantage over the field in qualifying trim. As the race leader, it's not easy to overtake. Should he be considering the long game and take it easy?
Yeah, I mean, my advice to the drivers, anyone who races Monaco, it's all about small steps at a time. You know, some tracks you can just relax into it. You've got runoff areas you don't have to worry about. But this one, you've really got to take it one lap at a time. Can't think too far ahead, because if you do, you're going to risk, you know, ending up into the barriers. So he's going to think, okay, let's get the start right. Let's get to turn 1 through Sandoval into the lead, and then we'll go for it. And it's, you know, the one stop dominates at this track in the dry, and it's dry conditions here in the night time. So, you know, if anyone does a 2-stop, they're not going to be anywhere, because track position absolutely is king here. Yep,
it's going to be vital. So now we can have a look and what tyres the drivers have chosen. Obviously all those guys in the top 10 must start on the tyres they qualified on, and that is Ultrasofts, and the majority of the field have gone for the Ultrasofts. All but one driver on the Ultrasofts. So there you go. Giannick on top. Gets Owen Wyatt second. Cloudy Balloon Star, Goody fourth. Danny in fifth. Ritson sixth. FC Grun is seventh. Carl Meds eighth. Little Piece ninth. And the Joker is 10th. I presume Joker had a 5th-place grid penalty of some sort there. So that's how he's ended up down to 10th.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, I had a message on my screen saying Joker had a 0-place grid penalty, which I thought was weird. So he must have accidentally blocked someone on his outlap. That's the only way I can really explain that.
Well, that's certainly a strange one. Had him down in 10th place. We've got Jack Gooding, of course, in 11th, Acorn in 12th, Low Racer 13th. Then the surprise, TNB DW on the Super Soft. So he'll be going long into this race. Now, can he find the pace to really disrupt the guys at the front by staying out longer? That will be one to watch. And Kingham JJ at the back. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, you know, it's so difficult to overtake here, and he's going to be going long, unlike everybody else on the Ultrasoft. So he's the one guy that those up ahead of him, if indeed he doesn't gain many places at the start, they don't want to drop behind him when they make their stop. It's not the longest pit lane here, of course, but you know, if you end up as one of the leaders dropping behind this guy and he's not going to pit for another 6 or 7 laps, that is a disaster for your race.
It sure will be, and it's going to be one to watch. I mean, it would be great for the viewers if he ended up in front of everyone and just being the cork in the champagne bottle, but I would say that's unlikely. But it's going to be one to watch as we get ready for the start of the Monaco Grand Prix. It's round 5 of the championship. Yannick is on pole, Owen Wyatt alongside. Can we get ourselves 5 different winners from the first 5 races? We'll find out when the lights go out here in Monaco. It's Monaco at night. You don't see this often. Lights out and away we go. Yannick from pole. Owen Wyatt trying to get alongside into turn 1. He does get alongside. They bang wheels, but Yannick has the high ground, has the lead going into the first corner, and he leads on the way up the hill. It's Yannick from Owen Wyatt. Cloudy Balloon Star and Goody 4th. Danny 5th. Ritson in 6th. I think we have got a little bit of bumping at the back. I see a lot of position changes. We'll go to that in a minute. But it's Yannick with a perfect getaway. Well, it wasn't perfect, but he was perfect through turn 1, and he holds his lead, Ali.
Yeah, something wrong with Jack. He's ghosting and he's dropping right down the order. And oh, there's contact, the hairpin between the McLaren and one of the Haas cars. They're both into the wall. Oh. There's a bit of a traffic jam there now. This is a disaster for Acorn at the hairpin, so bad news for them at the back.
Yep, absolute disaster for Acorn and Little Piece there. I arrived at the scene of that when I looked at the camera, and that looked like Monaco on Friday when everyone was driving around in the road cars, and that was a bit of a mess down there. You've got Little Piece, and now we've got another car off the road. That's the Joker down at the Nouvelle Chicane, and he's out of the Grand Prix, so I don't know what's happened to him. The Joker out as well, but it is the perfect getaway for Yannick. It looked like just a total mess down at the hairpin there. Ali, how did you see it? Was there anyone being a little bit too clumsy?
Yeah, I think it was basically the Haas, the McLaren and the Sauber just all came together and they just lost their wings and they ended up sort of turning into the wall. I think it looked like more of a racing incident, maybe an optimistic move, but yeah, there's Little Piece and Acorn in the pits making. Just to go back to the start, Owen made a brilliant start, got a great getaway from second and was challenging Yannick, but Yannick of course had the inside, so he just cut him off. But you know, it was a really good start from Red Bull driver. If he had just a bit more room, he could have got the move done. And soft tyres for Little Piece and super softs for Acorn. Yep, absolutely. Now we can go to Goody 2K7. That'll be interesting to see super softs and softs, how that pans out for them. But they are pretty much wiped out of contention, being all the way down there. Acorn 32 seconds off the back of the trail, or back of the field, I should say. But Goody looking quite racy at the moment. Low Racer down in 11th place, also looking racy behind Jamie. So Jamie's benefited from the messy start, up to 10th position already. His teammate Jack Gooding up into the points as well in 9th. So that's good to see for those guys. But where's the main battle? Is Low Racer bounces into the tyre wall, and he's seriously damaged that front wing now in 11th place. And any hopes of catching the cars in front have disappeared, and that Ferrari will need a trip into the pits. And as you said, Ali, in qualifying, these guys weren't leaving much on the table, and it's already beginning to show in the race. Yeah, I mean, the Force Indy of Carl Metz, he's got his left wing, all his end plates are gone. So, you know, that he's going to have to try and stay out as long as he can and then make the pit stop. But he's going to be so slow. There's going to be a bit of a train behind him soon enough. Yeah, there sure will be. That'll be one to watch how that materialises. But on to Ritson, who isn't the closest to a car in front of him, and that is Danny, right up ahead of him in the battle for 4th and 5th.
Ritson with that late qualifying effort to boost himself into the top 10, having been the lowly 15th, the last of all, but now up into that 6th position and hoping to try and challenge for a podium this afternoon. Yannick still 1.1 ahead of Owen Wyatt at the front. Cloudy Balloons in 3rd. Then Goody, Danny and Ritson 4th, 5th and 6th. I've got to ask you, Ali, where do you see the best place for an overtake? I know it's so tricky, so difficult, but do you think the best place is on the exit of that tunnel? I would say so.
Well, in terms of overtaking, there's only really 3 half chances to overtake. Turn 1 at Sandoval, you get a really good run with the DRS. Then the end of sector 2, if someone gets a poor exit from the top of the hill, and then, as you say, the chicane as well. And maybe if you're really into Anthony at the end of the race, that would be optimistic, but it has been done in the past.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to overtake here.
And it's very difficult, and we can see now as we ride on board with Goody just how difficult it is. He's following Cloudy Balloons, he's all over him like a rash in that Williams, and Cloudy Balloons will be getting a face full of a white and blue Williams behind him. And Cloudy Balloons soaking up the pressure. That's the one thing though, Ali, isn't it? I mean, you do find yourself having to look in your mirrors a lot and Monaco. You feel anxious when there's a car right behind you, and it almost feels as if it's harder to keep cars behind sometimes because you can make mistakes. You're looking in your mirrors, and then next thing you know, you're running wide, you're bouncing off barriers, and you're in trouble. Yeah,
and I think Cloudy's made a mistake somewhere because he's missing part of the end plates on the left side of his wing, and that's why he's dropped back suddenly from Owen, and that is, you know, Goody, Danny all getting back onto his tail, and it's going to put him under enormous pressure.
Yeah, well, put him under pressure, and yeah, that just adds to the problems, adds to the issues that he has. And will Goody get frustrated and send a missile up the inside, or does he play the long game? Does he play the percentage game? Hope that the guys in front have their own issues. I mean, there's so many times when I've had a league race at Monaco where I've been just going for it, and next thing you know, you could have won the race, and we've all experienced that before. And coulda, shoulda, woulda. Let's just be sensible and keep the car on the road and keep yourself in relative contention. So 5 laps gone. Yannick opening that lead out now. 2.2 seconds his advantage over on Wyatt, and showing that advantage in qualifying was no myth.
Yeah, and we've had some pit stops. Carl Med's replacing his wing, and DW replacing his wing as well. And Lorenzo, he is absolutely struggling in that Ferrari. He's in again to replace his wing, and he's got soft tires trying to get to the end. But some of these drivers, you know, have not put enough practice in. But you know, this track is so unforgiving. You just cannot. It's, you know, most of the tracks these days have these huge runoff areas, but this one is such an old school place. You know, one little error and your wing's gone. You know, you've got to be 100% the whole race, and it's so difficult to concentrate 100% for 39 laps.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's really a bit like Singapore and you know, other racetracks, even like Suzuka and things like that. The barriers aren't close, but if you run off on a track like that, you're skidding across the gravel trap, losing a lot of time and potentially reaching the wall. So we love the old school tracks, don't we? It's absolutely brilliant to see. Even a lot of the new street tracks, like Baku have got big runoff areas in places, and Valencia had them as well. And it wasn't really, you couldn't really call them street tracks, really, could you? Because of the amount of runoff area. But Monaco, it is the purest of the pure when it comes to street tracks. And one error, as you say, the advantage out to above 3 seconds now, and looking pretty handy out front.
Yeah, Yannick really starting to show that 1 lap pace over Owen Wyatt. You know, Owen Wyatt's keeping him honest, but yeah, incidentally, Danny's had to pit for a wing change. He was running really well in 5th, but he made a mistake previous lap and he's in, and now he's under pressure from Carl Meds, who also pitted the previous lap for a wing change. So good little battle for 9th place developing between those two.
Wonder how many stops we can expect this afternoon. There's one thing for sure, Danny will be making more than one. He started on ultras and he's now gone into another set of ultra soft tires. I don't know about you, I'm not so sure on strategy. Ali, what do you expect? A 1-2?
It's going to be a 1 stop here. If you can keep it off the barriers, it should be an easy 1 stop. Even though this track's very bumpy, the actual abrasive nature of the track is actually pretty minimal. I mean, even the ultra softs will go a long way into this race. I mean, I've seen some drivers get into lap 20. But you know, if you can get it to lap 15, it should be an easy 1 stop on the super softs. But the undercut, very powerful here, so whoever makes an early stop can gain a lot of time. So, you know, Yannick, if he sees Owen pit, he's going to have to react to it quickly. And speaking of McLaren, Acon's had a spin next to the tunnel, and he has given it up. He's damaged his wing so many times, so he's left the session. So, yeah, we've had, and that's the second retirement of the race, isn't it?
Yeah, second retirement of the race, and Acorn is out. A forgettable weekend for him. You can really tell on tracks like this, Baku, Singapore, who's put the effort in, who's put the practice in, and who hasn't. And it's clear to see that some of the guys down the back making a few errors and not really in the fight whatsoever, really. And Yannick already lapping them as Acorn trundles back to the pits. His race is over. Back at the front, Yannick opening out to 4.4, and as you say about that undercut, he's making sure though that is not going to happen. His own Wyatt clips the barrier, going through Raskas with his rear tyre, and the back end wanted to swing out on him there. He picks it back up and now finds his gap at 5.3, and Cloudy Balloons is hot on his heels, even with that wing damage. And you got to say that's quite impressive with that wing damage that Cloudy Balloons is able to maintain pace.
Yeah, but I think Owen's chipped off part of his right wing, because if you look at his end plates, they're not the same as the ones on the left. There's just a little piece, so it's probably like minor green damage, but that still makes a massive difference at this track where you need all the downforce you can get. So Cloudy right, almost nudging him, almost like, come on mate, get on with it. Yeah,
absolutely. On Wyatt just running out right up towards the barrier there, and we've seen many times, even in this race already, what can happen down at the hairpin if you start up a traffic jam. And Cloudy Balloon's getting a little bit agitated now behind Owen Wyatt. Can he force him into a mistake, or will he just send a ballsy move up the inside somewhere? So Owen Wyatt tries to hold on. Cloudy Balloon's right on his tail as they go through the swimming pool section, but that is so tricky, and Cloudy Balloon's brushing the wall.
Oh, he is lucky, so lucky. A bit more contact, he might have really put himself. Oh, and Owen pits.
Yeah, Owen coming in early, and maybe the wings damage has got just a little bit too much. Did he perhaps damage the other side when he clipped that wall there?
Yeah.
If he even did clip it.
Yeah, definitely wing damage. The Red Bull team, unlike 2016, they have remembered where the tyres are, but he's still got that wing to change. And he's on the softs, so he will 100% go to the end. The softs will last, well, they last forever pretty much here. So you could, in theory, I've seen people pit on lap 1 on the softs and go right to the end of the race. There's not a lot of pace in the softs though. That's the countermat to that.
Well, we'll see how it works out for Owen Wyatt. Here he joins the racetrack, and that's what happens though. If you make mistakes, you're going to have to take a double whammy. Not only you're going to have to trundle to the pits and suffer a 5-second wait for your mechanics to lift the jacks, lift the car up, fit a new front wing. You're also forced, if it's early enough, to change onto the soft, slower compound, and Owen Wyatt back out there. But still, even with that error, you still fancy him for a chance at the podium. We'll wait and see how it goes, as Jamie is in 7th position, and he's got, who's that right behind him? He's got nobody right behind him. It's a lapped car, I think, right behind him. So Jamie not really in any battle there. So back to Goody and Cloudy Balloons, and Goody now with that full front wing working onto the tail of Cloudy Balloons now. Can he try and make a move? As Cloudy was getting really racy though, he could sense an opportunity to get past the car in front, and he started taking a few more risks, didn't he? Not only that, the dirty air as well does not help, but as soon as Cloudy Balloons fancied a chance at getting past on, he got a little bit greedy on the throttle, didn't he?
Yeah, he certainly did. Maybe he doesn't have wing damage, but you know, on my screen it looks like he's missing a bit of left wing, but it might be so minor affecting him too much. But obviously it's an 8-second gap to Yannick now. Yannick, you know, he's, you know, in terms of the undercut, if you have like a 10-second lead here, and that pretty much protects you from an undercut of about 3 or 4 laps, so you know, he's looking good right now.
Yeah, he's looking absolutely fine. Even a damaged front wing and a wee change of front wing would would still leave him in a reasonable position, I would think. So Yannick doing his best to stretch that gap out, do the hard work in this first stint and give him an easier second stint. He is right now the class of the field. He's well on top, and the others are suffering from a few issues here and there, but Yannick is just strolling it out front. A Sunday drive here in Monaco so far, but that can change very quickly as Goody clips the wall there.
Owen and King nearly coming together with the chicane. King struggling on the tyre wear for the ultra softs, and Owen had to take avoiding action, go over the chicane. He didn't take the place. He's back behind King, but that was nearly a colossal accident at the chicane.
Oh, so they both live for another day. Any damage done? This is Owen. Oh, there's damage done there. That's the wing damage for Owen. Slight. He might be able to continue, but he just got a little bit eager on the brakes. Clipped the back of Jamie, who's struggling on his ultras, and slight damage to that wing for Owen Wyatt.
Yeah, it really is. He's got much more speed of those softs, but you know, I think he's got to be patient, because I think King's going to be pitting soon anyway. Lap 11.
Oh, he's
ultra softs won't go too much. Oh,
nearly.
We did see that stunning move. Oh, and he's hit the back of him again.
Yeah, he has, and he's having a look. Here we go, down the inside. Maybe Jamie gets defensive. And yeah, we did see that stunning move, didn't we? ILR4. It was incredible in the damp conditions, wasn't it?
Oh, that was one of the best overtakes I've ever seen.
Oh, we got a problem there. The banging wheels, the locking wheels down at the hairpin. And Jamie's so slow. Owen just needs to bide his time. Surely with the extra traction in those tyres, he'll be able to do them on the run down the hill. It doesn't look like it. He's lost all his momentum. Sorry for coming across you there, Ali.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. That was a dramatic moment. Yeah, I mean, oh my, he's getting so close to the back of that Renault. This is a recipe for disaster at some point if they carry on like this.
It sure is, and his own Wyatt now. Oh, look at that, another clip of the wall. He's running out of his 9 lives. His own Wyatt a cat. I think he might be, because he's really pushing the limits here as the Northern Irishman.
Watch out for Danny. Danny is right there as well. He's going to be thinking, yeah, go on guys, just take each other out and I'll gain a couple of places, thank you very much.
Oh, look at this one, Wyatt having a look up the inside. He's going to lunge late on the brakes on it. Jamie, he has to cut to the inside of the track. And now Danny has a run, side by side. Danny pounces. He takes the place, does he? The bang wheels going up the hill. But Danny...
And Owen's hit the wall. Owen's hit the wall. He's lost his wing. Oh dear. That is a... I think to be honest, Owen had to concede that. He was never going to, on the soft tyres, against Danny's fresh ultras, he was never going to win that battle.
Yeah, absolutely. We called it. We said it might happen. We said it would maybe happen between Jamie and Owen, but it turned out to be Owen's eagerness for a move on Jamie that cost him. He cut across the infield at turn 1, if you can call it that, and on the way up the hill, no traction. Danny powers alongside, pouncing on him. Oh, now he hits Jamie. This is incredible. Jamie, the mobile chicane, holding everyone up on those worn ultras, and now Danny is the latest to suffer problems behind Jamie, and I don't think there'll be anything left on that diffuser of the Renault in front, because there's nothing left on the wings of the cars attacking from behind.
Well, all of this has allowed Goody to come out in 5th. He's behind FC Grid and Jack, but he's jumped Danny.
Yeah, well,
so Goody looking good for a podium, continuing his consistent start, and as Owen pits, of course, after that disaster for his wing, and he's retired.
He's in the wall. Where's he in the wall? He's retired from it. Okay, he's perhaps...
Danny's so close to Jamie again, up into Casino Square.
That's close. Very close there. I might get it to work properly. Hold on a second. It's causing me issues here.
And Jack, he'll be hoping those guys don't go long, because he's going to lose an enormous amount of time. Cloudy pits from 2nd then. Will he be able to come out ahead of Goody? We're about to find out.
Oh, this could get very interesting. Very interesting here. Where is Cloudy? If he does not want to be behind this group of cars, does he? Jack Gooding comes in. That lessens the blow a little bit for Cloudy. Where is he coming out? Is he ahead? Is he behind?
I think Cloudy's going to do it.
Yeah.
Cloudy's going to, yeah. Obviously the Sauber team right at the end of the pit lane, so that's actually worked for him very nice. Oh, he's just got a time penalty though.
Look at Goody. Cloudy Balloons picks up a 3-second time penalty. That will be real lead to Goody, and Goody will now be told, get a move on. Have a look at FC Grun. Keep yourself within 3 seconds of Cloudy if you can. So now Goody on the attack of FC Grun. Grun will be in the pit soon, but he doesn't want to be losing valuable time, does he? It's the last thing he needs.
No.
But he blasted.
No, I mean, sometimes on most tracks, if you're out of position, it's better to let the guy go, the fast guy behind, but you can't do that in Monaco. There's so few places to get out of the way. You're losing an enormous amount of time. He's just got to keep going and hold the car behind.
Well, is he going to have a look up the inside here? It was a reasonable run from Goody coming out of there, but no, not quite. Coming out of Portier, it was a decent run.
Nowhere near close enough.
Yeah, and that's how difficult it is to overtake at Monaco, even with the car in front on 15-lap-old Ultrasofts that are crying, demanding you come into the pits, those old tyres, but still Goody unable on those fresh Supersofts to make a move as Yannick now streaks away out in front. He's now got a 21-second lead over Ritson, who is also yet to stop as Grun comes in, so that frees Goody to start attacking Cloudy Balloons. Meanwhile, Carl Meds and Jamie in the battle as well, Alan.
Yes, absolutely. Well, with the retirements, starting to creep in. Lorenzo just retired, Acorn's gone, Wyatt and Joker. So, you know, if you just get to the finish, there could be guaranteed points on offer here.
And now we've got a pit stop race in as well between Carl Meds and Jamie. It was Jamie ahead of Carl Meds. Is that going to remain the case coming out of the pits? New front wing for Carl Meds, not so for Jamie, so that's easy for Jamie, and he will rejoin this race in 8th position quite comfortably now. So Jamie back out onto the track in 8th place, and with cars in front yet to stop, the leader Yannick and Ritson will be looking at 7th, I would think. So Jamie doing a solid job from his lower
Yannick pits. Yannick pits.
Yep, Yannick in. So the race leader comes in for his pit stop, a 22-second advantage over Ritson. He probably will come back out in the lead, and right now we're not even halfway yet. I would think that Yannick's going to be the favourite for driver of the day, but it's a long way to go. Anything can happen in esports, and it usually does in the Formula 1 game. So here we go. Yannick back out as Ritson comes in as well.
Yep, and if Yannick knows his F1 history, he will know that a certain McLaren driver in 1988 had a huge advantage at this stage of the Monaco Grand Prix, but then he binned it and retired. So he's got to take that lesson on board and just keep doing what he's doing. His first stint has been absolutely flawless.
Yeah, absolutely, Yannick. We'll need to give an eye on that. Ayrton Senna, of course, the great man himself, regarded by many as the best of all time. Some Schumacher fans might disagree, and this is where he crashed it, down at Portier, and Yannick on the 16th occasion of 39 has got it spot on. But yeah, that has got to be playing on his mind. Things like that will play on your mind as a driver, but you've got to stay focused, you've got to keep it under control.
Yes, because he's got the super softs which don't have the ultimate grip of the ultra soft, so you have to adjust your driving style to that at Monaco, because you have all this awesome grip on the ultra softs, and then suddenly you have a tyre a step down which doesn't have the same front grip that you had before. So if you don't adjust to that, that's when a lot of drivers make the best tyre and they drop down to either the super softs or the softs.
Yeah, absolutely. Another factor that you need to remember, a very good point indeed, and you just need to build yourself up again, just like we said in qualifying. Build your way into it, feel your way into it. The grip level is different. Find out lap by lap, and that's something Yannick can do in spades. He's got a 9.4 second lead over Cloudy Balloons, who's still going with that damaged front wing. He's chose not to change it. I presumably think he's done that to stay ahead of Goody and stay ahead of that massive train of cars that he would have came out behind had he changed it. So wasn't a smart move for the Sauber team. They've got all the data that shows them where they'll come out onto the racetrack, and maybe that's why they did that. And track position is far more important at Monaco, and they've decided to send Cloudy Balloons back out onto the circuit with a damaged front wing. So brave call, but I would say if he keeps it away from the wall, the correct call, Ali. Yeah,
I think Goody, he'll be fancying his chances. He's going to have to try and force the Sauber into a mistake, but if he knows about that 3-second time penalty, maybe the team radio sometimes informs you in the game, so if he knows about it, he'll be able to just cruise up to the back of Cloudy. He probably knows the race win is gone unless Yannick makes a massive error. So, but second place very much on for the Williams driver now.
Absolutely. So Goody, if he doesn't know, and as a neutral, as a commentator, we hope he doesn't, we hope he goes for it. So certainly one to watch. Well, if he doesn't know, he certainly will be climbing all over the back of Cloudy pretty soon, given that he's got a full front wing at his disposal, and Cloudy does not. As Yannick sets a brand new fastest lap of the lead, and is totally in a league of his own. 11.1 seconds clear now of Cloudy Balloons, and Yannick absolutely flying out front, isn't he?
Yeah, Yannick doing the McLaren brand proud. Ayrton Senna obviously most wins of this track 6 times, and it's a Senna-esque performance from Yannick so far. But Cloudy, you know, if he can get onto the podium, he's got a massive advantage to Ritson, so even if that penalty cost him second, it would have been a great day for him.
Yeah, absolutely, it would be a great day, and the championship fight just continues to hot up, and only 4 rounds gone so far, 4 different winners. Will that be the case today? I don't think so, but it's going to be a thrilling season throughout, as Yannick out in front by 11.9 seconds.
Jack's made a mistake at the hairpin. He took too much. He didn't turn the wheel enough out the hairpin, and now he's lost half his wing, which means now the likes of Jamie, Danny and Cole Meds are going to... So we could get a really feisty scrap in the midfield. Bit of a Jack train coming up, I feel, unless he pits for a new wing, of course. He might do that. He's just missed the chicane as well and picked up a 3-second time penalty. I just didn't think he had the turn in, or maybe he didn't have the confidence. Maybe he thought he was going to go and damage the wing again. So Jack Gooding under pressure now, and look at the understeer he's got. He's lost a full right-hand end plate, and I would think that would require a pit stop. We'll find out
That will promote his teammate up to 6th, should he choose to pit. His teammate's under pressure from Danny as well, and Jack carries on.
He continues.
But that's
He's going to...
That's brave, is it not? That looks like a hell of a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, well, he's got to do the best part of 20 laps with a damaged wing if that's going to be his strategy. He's already lost a second of time to King this lap alone, so he's got 10 seconds at the moment.
No, maybe.
I wonder if does King have wing damage as well, because Danny, who's pitted twice for new wings now.
No,
Carmez, maybe King's, I don't know, maybe he's just not got the pace, but you know, I think Jack, I guess he figures, you know, if he pits, he's going to be more or less out of the points.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what he thinks. Go for broke. We got a yellow sector 3. Who's that?
It's Little Piece. Yep. He's had a nightmare race for Haas. Actually, it's not a name I'm familiar with. Is this his first race of the season?
Perhaps. I don't remember seeing him at any point. And Little Piece not covering himself with his glory on what we think is his debut. So Little Piece coming into the pits, and as races run outside the points, might continue despite his 4 pit stops. To try and earn himself a point or two with the chances of other drivers dropping out. Jack picking up another time penalty, really struggling out there to keep the car within the white lines in between the barriers, and that ain't easy. And will he try now and help his teammate out, because his teammate's under huge pressure from Danny, who's under huge pressure from Carl? Is it a possibility that Jack could stay out, let his teammate go past him, if he can try and let him go through, and then try and compromise Danny and Carl? That would maybe be a good idea for Jack Gooding. To stay out and do that.
Yeah, well, it could be the only way they salvage something from what has been a disappointing race for the Constructors' Champions, and I'm just trying to work out whether they'll still be leading it, because obviously 25 points for Yannick for winning the race. His teammate's not going to get any points because he left the session earlier on after retiring. So 25. No, I think Renault would just be still in front if it finishes as it stands.
Well, you never know. It doesn't look like it is, though. Jack really struggling. Gets 6 seconds worth of penalties as well to carry on. So not looking at all good for him. He's going to be an extremely defensive drive as Jamie continues to cut that gap between them, as these 3 all go dueling. The best battle on track at the moment as Jamie in that Renault. Then it's Danny in the Haas and the Force India of Carl behind that. 7th, 8th and 9th at the moment. And Carl Meds hoping to attack Danny. And Carl Meds does have a full front wing. Danny does not. He's got a damage on that right hand side of the Zen plates. And that makes it really difficult for him to attack Jamie. Jamie might be a little bit comfortable there actually out in front of him. And I think Danny needs to focus his attention on the car behind, because that Pink Panther is on a charge. And Carl Meds, as they go across the start finish line, trying to gain on Danny as they go into turn 1. Sandoval. But there's no way through at the moment. I've got to ask you, Ali, as we wait for this battle to boil up, what is your favourite part of this racetrack? What is your favourite corner? I mean, I said in qualifying, I like to back in the swimming pool section. For me, that is just superb. I love it.
Yeah, and that is probably one of the first sections of track I'm going to really enjoy when I get my wheel in a few weeks, because, you know, this track is really suited for the wheel users. It's really hard on the pads. You have to really adjust the settings to even make the pad work here. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Sector 3 is incredible when you get it right.
Yeah, really good. I mean, you watch the cars in a few moments head down there now. Danny 8th and Carl Meds behind him in 9th. Is there any way that Carl Meds can threaten a move on the Haas car? It's not easy. Not easy at all as they go into Tabac.
Yeah, so I think, you know, Carl Meds is going to have to try and force him out. Danny's not looked comfortable in this race route. You know, he's had to make 2 wing changes. You know, he's on his 2nd stop already. So I think Carl Meds, you know, he's looking pretty smooth at the moment. Famous last words, but I think he, you know, in fact, he's pretty close on the DRS right now. Yeah,
he is very close. He got a lot closer than he was in the previous lap. Breaks very late.
He had a look.
He had a big look. He had a big look. I was actually surprised there. And he was nearly the latest man to chip a front wing off on the rear of somebody else's car. But he keeps it all intact, and Carl Meds looking really racy. Can he now line it up? Danny error, a little bit wide, and now they go over the bump, down in towards the next corner. He has a look up the inside into Maripol. And the door is closed, and I think it was all fair. But Carl Meds getting his elbows out here, and all of a sudden giving us something quite exciting here. A little look in the inside of Portier that you very rarely see anyone try it there. But Carl Meds had a look, and you got to give him credit for that.
You certainly. Oh, yellow's. Who's that? I'll just check who that is. Someone's lost it somewhere. No, I think it was Little Piece going over the chicane. He's been lapped again. Yeah, Jack is losing a huge amount of time. No surprise with the wing damage he's got. He's losing about a second a lap to his teammate. So he's going to be involved in this scrap soon. And we will see if your theory is correct and Jack will let his teammate through and release him.
Well,
oh no, he pits.
He's coming in. Oh, that's a strange one. I'm surprised at that. That's a little bit of a mistake, I would think, from Renault. Surely you would help your teammate out because he's in this big train of cars. But no, Jack Gooding decided to pit. Maybe the 6-second penalty is the reason that he's done that. Maybe he feels if he comes in and starts an attacking drive to try and salvage something, that would maybe suit him better than holding everyone up with the 6-second time penalty. So maybe that's why he feels the need to do that. But right now, Karl Med's looking the most racy on the racetrack at the moment. A big mention to Ritson as well. He's now climbed up into the top 4 under the radar by not making any mistakes. So a good drive from him. And if there's anyone to contend,
a really good drive from Ritson. Really good drive. I think this is what it's all about. This is often a track where those who are not usually the quickest, if they just keep it off the barriers, then they're still going to have an awesome result at the end. And that is what Ritson's doing. So I think 4th place would be his best result of the season so far. Yeah,
Ritson up 2 places then from the 6th position, so a good drive from him. King and JJ up 9th now into the top 6, so maybe Jamie could argue that he deserves a shot at driver of the day, but it's hard to argue with Yannick at the moment. Again, we're not at the finish, it's Monaco, anything can happen, but I certainly think that as it stands, it's hard to argue with Yannick, isn't it? It really is.
Well, I mean, you only have to look at the fastest lap. I mean, his championship rival, Goody, will be looking at this and thinking, wow, if this is repeated at every track later on in the season, it's going to be a tall order to win this championship. As Karl Med touches the barrier, Sandoval. Yannick's fastest lap at 1:12.959, and Goody's fastest lap at 1:14.391.
Wow, absolutely incredible. That is really just obliterating the field, isn't it? Really, it's just incredible. I think the closest man to him is Ritson, 1:13.6, so it shows that he has got pace too. Karl Meds as well at 13.6, but Yannick is just absolutely wiping the floor with him here at Monaco. As this little battle just gets tighter and tighter, doesn't it now? Jamie just about holding on here, Danny right behind him, and then Karl Meds after that. And is Karl Meds close enough for a move on Danny? Is Danny close enough for a move on Jamie? I would think not, as they hit the brakes for the Nouvelle Chicane for the 25th time, and they all hurtle their way through now and then down towards to back. Jamie holding on from Danny. All of a sudden Danny looks like he's pressing Jamie now, and Jamie for a few laps maybe under the caution a little, making a couple of errors. Danny looked like he was under threat from Karl, and now it's swung around and Danny's attacking Jamie and having a look into the Nouvelle Chicane, not the Nouvelle Chicane, the Brascas I should say, and not quite close enough for a move.
Oh, there's a poor exit though out of the final corner, but DRS for Danny as well, so that will nullify any threat from Karl Meds behind. Yeah, it's a waiting game, but you do feel it's a massive mistake is coming from one of these 3 drivers that will settle this.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen it already in the Grand Prix where we saw that mistake from One Wyatt that put him out of contention, and that allowed a car to get alongside him, and that's what led to that. And there you go, there's the mistake!
Oh, there it is! There it is!
Into a spin goes Danny.
Oh,
he taps him round.
Oh, no.
And he tried it once before, and this time he tried a little too hard on the brakes, and round into a little spin goes Danny. The slightest of touches, the Formula 1 cars like this are just right on the limit of balance, and they go one little touch, and round goes Danny into a spin. The front wing totally destroyed, and his race is as well, and he will be absolutely furious with Karl Meds, who might be earning himself a little trip to the stewards.
Yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
A big mistake was going to settle this. And King, well, he's laughing all the way to the Monaco Bank at Casino Square right now, because he is running away with 6th place, although, you know, not over yet. He's got to keep going. But Karl Meds, surprisingly, I don't think he got any wing damage out of that, looking at his end place.
Wow, I don't know how, that's a bit of a miracle. He sent Danny, punted him really into a spin down at Portier. Sorry, was it Mirabeau? Mirabeau, sorry. And a mistake there, and round goes Danny into a spin. Front wing damage, the chances of points gone. That's his 3rd front wing change in the race, and having had 2 of his own, I didn't think he fancied having someone else cause another one, and unfortunately that is the case for Danny, and his race has been totally destroyed. I think he might get 1 point from this though, because of Acorn's poor race.
Yeah, little piece. Yeah, it's been it's turned into a nightmare for the Haas team. 10th for Danny, little piece. is running in 11th, although Little Piece is called it a day. So we've only got 10 runners now. We've had 5 retirements from the race. But yeah, Little Piece has struggled all day in his debut in this league. So, you know, but better things to come from him, I'm sure, in the more forgiving tracks, I do predict.
Yeah, I would think so. It's a very tough race to come into, and Little Piece is in the pits. I don't see any obvious damage to the car, other than the fact that he's changing the front wing again. And when I look at the pit stop graphic, he's made 7 stops. So I don't know how many front wings cars bring to Grand Prix, or teams bring to Grand Prix, but I think 7 might be towards the limit of how many they bring. And for that reason, I think that might be why Little Piece has retired from the Grand Prix. And a little bit of an embarrassing stat if true. Little Piece out after 7 pit stops and 7 front wing. Oh dear.
Well, that's the kind of magnificent 7 you really don't want in league racing.
Not at all. As Carl Meds now finds himself in the back of Jamie, who's just all of a sudden just dropped off, really started to struggle. It looked like he was quite comfortably holding off Danny before it all kicked off, and now he's got Carl Meds, who I think was looking a little bit quicker than Danny, so it makes it even harder now for Jamie to hold him off. And there's no obvious front wing damage on Jamie's car, so I don't know what's going on. Has he just entered a phase where he's lost his confidence a little after a few errors, perhaps? What do you think?
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, I'm just having a look. I'm just trying to compare the tyres on these two. Jamie pitted on lap 15. I'm just trying to see, did Carl Meds make an extra pit stop? He has, so that means these super softs on Carl Meds are much fresher.
Yeah, they are, and that will explain why that he is on a charge. So Carl Meds around that final corner, up behind Jamie, a little bit of oversteer coming out of there, and unable to continue to mount that pressure that he had been doing. So what do we think? What can Carl Meds do? He's just got to try and keep himself right on Jamie, not give him a moment's peace, and bad exits like that out the final corner is giving Jamie a moment's peace. He needs to be all over him from this point right up to the final corner, right up till Jamie makes a mistake even, and maybe pounce. But as we've seen already, Carl Meds might be a little bit more cautious trying to overtake, because we've seen what he did to Danny.
Yeah, well, the technique for getting past someone at Monaco is often not making the overtake. It's often just trying to scare your opponent into a mistake. So, you know, make a half lunge, a half dive bomb. You're not actually going for an overtake, but you're just thinking, yep, I'm coming through, and then it makes the driver in front think, oh crap. And then, you know, the next corner, because they're focusing so much on defending, they make a mistake, and that's when you make your pass. You know, forcing them to get the sort of wing damage and force them into pits, because that, to be honest, is the easiest way to get past here. Just get someone to get wing damage, they go in the pits, and thank you very much. And oh, King hits the wall as I say that.
And was that damage though? I don't think I've seen anything fly off. I think he's got away with it.
I think he got away with it. He won't get away with that many more times.
Yeah, he won't. And 7 laps to go. He's getting towards the critical point towards the race, where you don't want to be throwing away things, because it's hard to recover when there's so little time left. And Carl Meds gets a great exit out of Sandevort, climbing up the hill, and now he really is starting to pile the pressure on King MJG in that 6th position, and he continues that pressure all over him like a rash, pushing him through Casino Square. And here we go, down into Mirabo now. Jamie having to look in his mirrors. I'm calling it now. I expect Carl Meds to do exactly as you said. Have a look up the inside without going for it in the Nouvelle Chicane, and maybe make Jamie think about things. Think about that move that he just tried, going through to back and things like that. And that's where the mistake comes. But look at the exit Carl Meds got there. He might even be able to make a move now. Out of the tunnel, into the floodlit area. He has a little look up the inside, and still as they go through the Nouvelle Chicane, Jamie in front. Now, Jamie needs his focus. He needs to think hard. He needs to make sure that he's got it under control, and going through to back. He's wide. He's wide. Is he toiling? Is he under pressure now from Carl Meds? He sure is. Carl really upping the ante, upping the pressure to boiling point here in Monaco, and he tries and tries again, but Jamie, cool as ice, holding on Ali, showing that he really can deal with the pressure. Great driving.
Yeah, it's brilliant defending so far from the Renault driver. His tyres are getting to the point where they're going to start to drop off. He's been on them by the end of this lap, over 15 laps, so he's getting towards the end of the race. I just want to mention that Ritson is actually lapping significantly faster than Goody, and he's beginning to close in on Goody in the battle for third, although he's not lapping quickly enough to get onto him before the end of the race.
Not only that, we've got a battle for 9th and 10th between DW and Danny. Danny Lou obviously significantly quicker. I'm wanting Oh, look at that. I don't want to miss the Carl Edge Jimmy battle, which is becoming a story of the Grand Prix. But Danny, with the DRS and noticeably quicker than DW, but the only reason he's behind him is, of course, DW's only have to make one stop. Slow and steady can often bring you results, and DW at the moment in that 9th position, holding off Danny. But look at this.
Massive tyre advantage for Danny, not only because he's on the ultra softs, but TMB had to make quite an early wing change, right. So he's going on the softs to the end, but they last forever. There's not a lot of performance in them, so Danny has a reasonable chance of getting that 9th place.
Oh, hold on, final corner, Carl Meds and Jamie. I just switched to it there. Jamie was very, very wide through Anthony Nose, and now Carl Meds is all over him again as they go into turn 1, but no way through. Now back to Danny.
Yannick is right behind them to lap them.
Wow, and Jamie lets him go. Oh, and sorry, look at this. There we go. Oh, Carl Meds. Very nearly seizing the opportunity. That was so smart from Carl. Let Yannick go, follow him up the hill and try and find a way through. Jamie, perhaps letting him go a little bit early there. Maybe didn't want to get himself a penalty. Carl Meds almost squeezed through the smallest of gaps. And to be fair to Carl, he was very wise and chose against it.
Yeah, Danny with a easy move into the penultimate corner to get up into 9th place. But yeah, that was very smart from Carl, as you mentioned. But yeah, King was, I think he was wise to it.
Yeah, maybe he was wise to it, and that's why he covered off the inside. And it is pretty much, as we've seen already in this Grand Prix, single file up that hill, unless you totally move out of the way, which Carl did, and then Jamie moved aside too. They both did very well, very respectable driving to get out of the way of Yannick, and then even more respect from Carl for realising that it was just simply not on to go side by side where that barrier starts to stick out on the climb up the hill. So Carl using his brain there, very wise decision. And he's right behind Jamie now. He's superb, the line through Raskas to give him a slingshot towards Anthony Nose. And now it's rewarded him with a run. And it's half a chance, perhaps more than that. He ties up the inside here in Monte Carlo.
The back wheels.
Oh,
Carl saves it. It's a brilliant save from Carl. He was going into the barrier. The move was on. King very aggressive in his defending as he needed to be. Carl, I think that was a fantastic save to stop him going to the barrier.
And a fantastic attempt as well. You've got to give him credit. No damage done to either car. That's what you like to see. Jamie defending hard. I think just about acceptable. Carl came up the inside and very, very nearly found a way through. I mean, how did you read it? Did you think that it was a little bit too aggressive from Jamie? Is he in trouble from the stewards, or do you think it was right on the limit? What do you
I don't think so. I don't think Carl wasn't right alongside him.
Yeah.
I think he was sort of 3/4 of the way up. So the move was on, clearly, but I think King had the right to take the corner.
I agreed. Do you think Carl could have been a little bit later in the brakes, do you think? Or do you think he'd have been steaming into the barrier on the exit? I mean, he was late enough, wasn't he? He was late enough. Oh.
I think the trouble is, it's very borderline on the super softs. They don't have that grip for the braking. If he was in the old softs, then yes, he would need to go a bit later. He could afford to go later on the brakes, but I think he executed that about as well as he could have done. Obviously, he didn't get the move done, but you know, if he'd gone, I mean, you know, King's tyres are so old now. He's going to have more opportunities to pass before the end of the race.
Well, the odds will shorten for Carl Meds, that's for sure. Oh, and Jamie wide, very wide at Massenet, and now into Casino Square. There is an opportunity again for Carl to try and threaten that 6th position, but again, Jamie holds on to that position. And also, by the way, Jack Gooding in 8th position with his 6 seconds worth of penalties. I don't know if Danny's got any. Might be under threat soon, so maybe Jack wants to pick up the pace a little bit to ensure that he holds on to that 8th place. So, no, actually, it's turned out not too bad for that other Renault. It was looking like 6th and 7th was sliding away, but 6th and 8th is a reasonable consolation given that Jack had to come into the pits.
Yes.
Oh, there you go!
And Carl hits the back. And that could end it.
And Jamie, not for the first time, has a car
King spins! King's lost it! Jamie, I can't believe he's lost it. That's an unusual place to spin. But I think the tyres may have just given up the ghost right there.
Wow, absolute frustration for Jamie for that moment there. A few moments before that, when Carl hit him for about the 5th time, a car's hit the back of Jamie this afternoon, or this evening I should say, looked like it was going to decide it all and allow Jamie a free run to 6th position. But no, he goes for the spin, and that's why his nickname is Disaster Class, because he's just had one there at the back corner. Round he goes, perhaps a clip of the inside wall, or perhaps it was just a lack of grip on the rear tyres. Round he went, and he now has to limp home in 7th position, and there is not an end plate left on that car, I don't think. I think there might be one ever so slightly.
He's rapidly catching him, so I think we'll see a swap of the Renaults before the end of the race.
Well, they swapped them round. That'll be one to watch, if they choose to.
Yeah.
And Jimmy,
well, you know, King's still got... He hasn't lost his wing entirely, so he still has a little bit of downforce left, so I think he'll try and hold on to it.
Yeah, he should be able to be okay. I mean, even his teammates got damage to his front wing as well, so it's not as if it's going to be a full-on, very unfair charge towards the back of him. It's going to be a little bit more equalised with Jack's damage too, but still Jamie would feel would have it under control, and Jamie even letting a car go past him. That was Cloud Balloons putting a lap on him, I think. And now Jack is really catching him, only 1.1 behind him here, and this is rapidly closed, and even Danny could close on these two given the wing damage they've got. Maybe not actually 13 seconds, but Jamie is going to be lapping in the what, the 1 minute 20s or something perhaps here. I wouldn't be surprised if he is.
I mean, it's a horrible, horrible place to be for Formula 1 drive. You've got a damaged wing, you've got tyres which are screaming for mercy, and then you've got a teammate behind you who's got ultra softs and no damage at all. I mean, talk about a handicap. It's like trying to race with one leg.
Do you let him go, Jamie? Do you let your teammate go for this 7th and 8th position? Doesn't look like it. Looks like these Renault boys are here to race, and this could get quite interesting then. See how the Renault boys play it, as you said.
Oh, contacts!
There's the damage they didn't want to see, and there will be fumes down at the Renault garage. The forgettable weekend is only getting worse, and has now damaged the entirety of his front wing, a bit like his teammate, and that gap to Danny is going to come down very quick. 11.1 now. I said it might be impossible, maybe a bit too late for it to come down, but I'm not so sure now. That gap is going to come charging down. 10.9, it's coming down a second every couple of corners here. And they're both with the penalties Jack has accumulated, Danny's got a shot. Big crash for Jack. He somehow has not lost his tyre there. A lot of lag as well, but he bouncing off the wall again. 10.2, the gap continues to come down. This is incredible.
How on earth is that Renault still going?
9.2 now, rapidly coming down. And now Yannick, meanwhile, out front has accumulated a pit stop advantage over the field, and you can all vote for it if you want in the comments if you're watching on the live stream for your driver of the day. But I think it's a pretty clear decision for us that Yannick 2000, well, is my driver of the day. Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely. I think Ritson though pushes him close. I think he's, apart from Yannick, I think he's been absolutely splendid drive out there today. Hasn't put a foot wrong. I've watched him most of the race, apart from the on-track action we've watched, and he's been, you know, solid. Very solid drive from Ritson. So Yannick, driver of the day, but Ritson getting his best result of the season, and well deserved as long as he gets to the finish. Yeah, good drive from Ritson, 4th position, best result as you say. But Yannick for me, and probably for most, driver of the day. 21 seconds he leads with just a lap and a half to go of this Grand Prix, or not even that, I don't think. I'm not quite sure actually. I'm riding on board with Jack Green at the moment. I don't think the lap counter would change for if I ride on board with Yannick. No, it does not. So a lap and a half left for him, and he's on his way as this gap continues to go down. 6.6 now, and this might just come down enough for Danny to have a little look at these guys. As Goody now comes up to lap them, that doesn't help either. No, they'll have to slow down.
And Jack moves aside, and that gap will come right down now to around 4 seconds, I would think, immediately. And Danny is really closing the gap. And is this Jack's moment to attack his teammate, is it? Oh, again, Jamie letting a car go up at the top of the hill and gets away.
Oh, they touch again.
Oh, wow. And Danny, 4.2, and this is a chance for Jack Gooding. The two Reynolds might be going side by side in a moment here. Very, very nearly. Round the outside. No danger, no danger. Oh.
Well, I think it's safe to say there's no team orders going on here.
Well, no, there's absolutely no team orders, and Jack
Ritson's behind him. They have to slow down again. That's going to cost them even more time.
And there's Danny. There's Danny.
They touch again.
And Jack Gooding's
side
through.
By side.
Did he let him go?
Ritson. Come on, Ritson, don't get involved. Just let them
and
do whatever they need to do.
Danny's through on Jamie. He passes Jamie. Jamie cuts the chicane. It's turning into an absolute mess. And Jamie lets Ritson go, and then Danny slides his way past. Yannick's on the final lap. There's front wing everywhere.
Finish.
Has Danny now damaged his wing? He has. And Jack's lost it all. Jack's lost it entirely, I think. He has. And this Renault race has totally fell to pieces. So now Jamie's been overtaken, and now Jack, without a front wing, is going to try and see his way through the final lap. But we need to go to Yannick, who is on his final lap at the moment. But he's not far enough round to go to him just yet. Jack Gooding,
he backed off.
Oh, here comes Danny now. He's got to surely let him go. He's got to let him go. He's surely going to let him go.
He's not. He's not. Oh, Jack is out. He's thrown points away. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Oh my goodness.
Racing instinct. It's all about the racing instinct, and that's why Jack Gooding went for it. It did not look good at all. It looked as if he was going to lose the place, and he ends up folding up the tyre against the chassis in the wall. But here comes Yannick across the start finish line. There'll be no fifth winner in 5 races. He brilliantly wins here in Monaco by a country mile. Driver of the day by a mile. Second win of the season for Yannick. And is he now chapping on the door of place in ILR2, Ali? What do you think?
Wow. I mean, that sort of performance is a massive shot in the arm to the rest of the grid in this league. And yes, it may not be long before he is promoted. And Jack has left in frustration. The Renault team disintegrating. But let's mention Cloudy, second place for him. That's a great result for the Sauber. And Goody, he's been so consistent. The opening round he finished 5th, but since then he's been absolutely brilliant in consistency.
Well, consistency can win championships, so well done to Goody. He comes home in 3rd. Good drive from him. Ritson, that brilliantly 4th, and of course, as we mentioned, a superb performance from him. A big contender for driver of the day there, Ritson, so well done to him. FC Grun, what do you know about FC Grun? I'm not too sure about him. 5th position, is that a good run from him?
He scored points in his debut, then he had a disappointing race. I think it was he retired at Bahrain, scored no points at Spain. So yeah, this is his best result of the season as well. So Monaco always creates opportunities because sometimes some of the established order, they just have shockers, and that allows other people to come in and get the points.
Well, what an interesting race. It wasn't a classic, but there was certainly excitement and things to keep an eye on throughout, and I'm glad you stuck with us for that. But it was a day where Yannick dominated. Total, utter dominance, and he deservedly lifts the trophy aloft and celebrates with the champagne. He wins from Cloudy Balloons in 2nd, and of course a brilliant 3rd for the ever consistent Goody on the podium too. So the German Yannick is the first man to make it 2 wins in ILR3 this season. There was no 5th winner in 5 races. It's Yannick winning the Monaco Grand Prix with Cloudy Balloons home in 2nd. Goody was 3rd, it was Ritson in 4th. FC Grun was 5th, it was 6th position for the Force India of Carl Meds. Danny was 7th, and King MJJ in that depleted Renault, it literally was depleted come the end, was 8th. It was 9th for DW, he saw some points. And Jack Gooding, there you go, classified in 10th position. So he threw some points away, but I suppose he had to go for it. I think he will be classified with that 10th place. He completed enough of the race. So I think he's going to get that 10th.
Yeah, he should do, because he retired on the final lap. So yeah, he should be classified, but he'll still be disappointed. You know, Renault. I think Renault have lost the lead of the Constructors' Championship.
Well, there you go. It didn't finish as we thought it might earlier on with Renault in front, and I think there will be quite a significant debrief down at Renault here in Monte Carlo tonight, because that was utter carnage from their point of view, particularly the final few laps. And wow, a bit of a disaster there.
It was. I'm just working it out. No, Renault still leading the Constructors' Championship, but only just. Their massive advantage they had, it has been absolutely wiped out. McLaren are right there, thanks to the efforts of the brilliant Yannick today. I mean, you know, if not this race, if he carries on like this, a promotion is definitely on the cards for him. Yeah,
so well done to Yannick. Perhaps, if not an ILR3 championship, potentially, maybe a shot at ILR2. I mean, he's totally bossed them here this afternoon, and yeah, that is, as you said earlier on in the show, if you can put in a performance like that, that really does catch the eye. You might not win every race, but when you can perform at that level, it really does show that you've got potential to perform at a higher level, doesn't it, Ali?
Absolutely. I mean, Monaco is the most challenging track. There is no question about that. The number of notable drivers I've seen in many leagues retire at this track when they dominate other tracks. So if you make a statement like that at this track, you can do it at any other track at this particular level, which means you can certainly move up and are worthy of doing so. But he's got he's got that second win. But I don't think this will be enough for a promotion. He's got to do it again in the races to come.
Yeah.
But if he stays in this league, he has surely, with that performance, put himself, if he stays here for the rest of the season, as the clear favourite to win ILR3.
Yeah, into the shop window he goes, and as you say, I totally agree. He's got to do that on a regular basis, smash the field time and time again, and really show that ILR2 is the place for him. A superb effort from Yannick. I don't know, do you usually do podium interviews in ILR3? What's your usual?
No, I don't do podium interviews. I think there's not much enthusiasm for them, and to be fair, I think the racing action spoke for itself there. It was some Monaco for a night race. I've never covered a night race before. It looked spectacular, I have to say, and I think it was a entertaining race, especially in the midfield, and there was some extremely aggressive moves, but it was great fun at times.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was talking points. It wasn't an ILR classic, absolutely, by no means. I've seen some incredible races, but Monaco, it can be tough sometimes to get some action, but we got it today, and as you say, we got it in spades in that midfield, and a lot of it was drama as opposed to overtakes. I think the closest we got to a real pure move was that one from Carl Meds. I think Danny got one towards the end as well on DW, so I mean, that was an actual move, but a real battle between Carl Meds and Jamie in the middle part of the race. That was my favourite highlight from the race. I mean, I don't know about you, but that's what I enjoyed the most. What about yourself?
Yeah, completely agree with you on that. I think a good midfield is always healthy for any league, and we've seen that. I mean, I think this was sort of a freak result because all the other races this season have been pretty close in the top order. No one's really dominated. So I think Yannick, he just turned up today and put in an extremely special performance at this level.
It sure was, and congratulations to Yannick then. He leaves Monte Carlo in control of that championship, I believe now. A fantastic victory for him here at the legendary Monaco circuit here tonight. A first ever night race at Monaco and ILR, and a fantastic performance from him. Well, that rounds it all off, folks. That is it from myself and Ali Monda. We'll maybe be joining you again with this duo in the future, the dynamic duo, who knows? We'll wait and see. But from us, that is it. The Monaco Grand Prix. We now head off, I believe, to Canada. Is that right, Ali? I think it is.
I believe so, yes.
So
a track which is one of the most magnificent racing tracks, so looking forward to that for sure.
Okay, well there you go. There's the last word. Well, see you all next week, same time on a Thursday night at 7 p.m. for ILR3, the Canadian Grand Prix. Can Yannick tighten his grip, or is there someone else out there looking to make it 5 winners from 6 races? We'll find out. We'll see you then. Good night.